next on the agenda is a couple of petitions from the Vermont Bowhunters Association.
My name is Bill Hickok, and I'm the president of the board of directors for the Vermont Bowhunters Association. We have felt that a bear baiting season could be a great tool for the department, especially if it's implemented and managed as tightly as we foresee it, to cover a lot of the issues that have been brought up already from people who already talked. But it works well in New Hampshire, it works well in Maine, and it's a great tool because the department is going to know where each bait station is exactly. They're going to know who's going to be hunting on that bait station exactly. The landowners are going to know. It's not willy-nilly. It's all in a foreseeable permit process. So if you have a problem area, let's go through. I know you've read this, so I don't want to just read it. But the bait season would give a proximity to the hunters. So not only do you have hopefully a more clear and ethical shot, you can determine what that bear is. Is it a sow with cubs? That's not a shot you're going to take. Is it a small bear, maybe a first-year cub? Probably not going to take that. But you have an opportunity to be able to get close because of the bait. Also, with the population management aspect of it, if you have an area of heavy mast, bears are scattered, they're not patternable per se anyway. This helps pattern them. The bait goes in, there's the season, the bait comes out. The hunters are there during their legal times, and they check them in the same way they would always check them in. And it's just a consistent and reliable tool to be able to meet some management needs. Also, as far as human bear conflicts, whether it's somebody's bird feeder getting knocked over, the grill's getting knocked over, the idea is to get the baits away from houses, away from neighborhoods. These aren't big areas we're talking about here. We're talking quarter acre, maybe, of bait station and stands. Get them away from everyone else. Those bears are going to that spot. They've got about a 30, 40-day window, whatever is decided, when those baits are active. So they're not getting habitual, not coming to human food so much. They don't know where it comes from. It's not coming from a house. They are going to know that. It's not going to be a trash can. It may be a barrel, but it won't be a trash can. And at the end of the season, it's gone. We would think that a framework to be considered would be a real in-depth permit. X amount of permits decided by the department. Each management unit gets X amount of permits. Those permits have a map that shows the GPS location for each bait. It has the name and contact information, landowner, name and contact information of anybody who is on the permit to be able to hunt it. So you know. And as far as the fee for the permit goes, that would really be up to you all. You can look at information from New Hampshire and Maine, but this is Vermont, and it is different. Also, the types of bait used, which is really important. I know Rocky, member of our board, and Charlie, they've done more of this than I have, but baits can be specific, and they've got to be so they don't cross animals. We're not looking to use corn. We're not looking to bring turkeys and deer in here. We're looking to bring bears in. We're not going to use chocolates or any kind of other thing that has proven over the years in other places to be detrimental to the life of a bear. So, where am I? Sorry. Yeah, so you're going to know all that. And if a permit is accepted, The department has it, the landowner has it, and the hunters have it, and it's got to be on them at all times when they're hunting. This is pinpointed. This is exact. It's not when a lot of bears, and I don't know the exact statistic, but I believe the most bears are shot during the first week of deer season. Am I right on that? I think so. And that's not the type of situation here. Those bears are moving because they're moving because of all the hunters in the woods. This is going to be much more targeted and precise. Once the application, yep, that's carried.
Bill, can I comment?
Absolutely, Rocky, go right ahead. Come on up.
Hi, my name's Rocky Bunnell. Good friend of mine, Charlie Palmer. We've harvest bears with bait for years now. I was listening to some of the stuff in the room, and I'd love to answer any questions because we do it, we touch it. One of the things that Charlie and I have done when we harvest the bear, we always get into the bear and see what the bear is actually eating. And we find that they're not focused on the bait. They eat the other stuff, and we'd like to know that because what are they feeding on? So we'd like to know that. The other thing is we usually get done bear hunting right at the end of September. So bears do not follow in any bad habit of thinking I've got to have the food that we bring to the site. And everybody has different types of food they use. And like we learned, chocolate is not one of the things for bears to have. So they're a very important thing. But I like to talk about landowners. We hunt on, it's amazing the different landowners that we have. We have one where they didn't allow hunting, but they allowed us to put a bear site on because the landowner, she had horses and she wanted the bear population down. And we were welcome to do that because we're closed in a small area. So that worked out good. And now that landowners even tasted bear meat. And that's another thing. Bear meat, I don't know how many have prepared bear meat properly, but it's a delicacy in my world. People like the bear meat. And we've had, what do we have over in Berlin? What we buried?
Montpelier.
Montpelier.
Field to fork.
Yes, and that was a good turnout. And one of the things we had there was bear meat, and that was a big hit. And people didn't realize that was bear meat. But the thing about it's a great tool for the department to have. And the other thing I really like about it is the landowner is on board. And when the landowner is on board today, that's everything. And the department being very aware of it. It seems to be a very good tool. We use it in New Hampshire. I can't think of anything negative about it. And like I said, we eat the bears and they're good. If you got any questions, I'd like to answer about it because I like the sport. And I'll tell you something else. I've taken graded school children up. I set up another stand. I've taken adults up. I've taken non-hunters up just to see if we get lucky to see the bear. Times you do, times you don't. It's not always a win-win situation. You got to be there. And it's always interesting. And as far as the bear, myself, that's my choice. I like a bear that's so in size because I want to harvest it. And sure, I love a great big bear, but it's got to meet the kitchen table. That's my thought. Okay, thank you.
All right, you done?
Yes.
Questions for these gentlemen?
Yeah, how big of a tract of land are you thinking you need to be successful at baiting? Because once you get out of the Northeast Kingdom or the Green Mountain National Forest, pretty small tracts of land.
Mm-hmm. Well, baiting station, I mean, what? You're talking about a station smaller than the center of this room right here,
Right.
where the actual bait is. The stands away from it, depending on, the other thing is, I didn't say it, but we're not petitioning an archery only season here. We're opening this up. So I don't want to think that we're taking away from any other hunter style. We're not.
I
This
guess
is the
what I would ask is,
yeah.
how big of a piece of land do you need? I know the Beatty's small, but to stay away from houses and people's backyards, how big of a parcel do you need to be able to do it successfully?
Well, like Charlie, when we pick a spot, we kind of find like a spot that the bear likes. We like to find this. We like to be away from people, and we like a kind of a dark area. And of course, always the wind makes a difference. Because Charlie and I have only harvested with the bow, and we have friends that have harvest with rifles, and it all depends on what you want. Rifles, you can be further away. Archery, we'd like to be a lot closer. But the area that you're actually taking up, if you were to take a large area, it'd be an acre. That'd be large.
Right, but what I'm saying, again, what I was asking is like, do you need like a 1 square mile area to be successful at it without to be so you're pulling everything away from the houses, not to the house?
I would think not. You can, it's going to be selective because you've got different land structure all over Vermont in different areas. I personally would not want to be where I'm going to actually be hearing a voice. I like I like the privacy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the space itself doesn't take much property, much real estate.
Right.
Where the bears will be coming from, that's a bear. They've got a good nose. They're going to find it and come in, but they're going here, not going to your trash can. They're going toward this bait station. And they're like every other wild animal that I've ever seen. If it's too good to be true, it's not true. So they spend a lot of time looking around, coming behind us, trying to send everything up. So it's not like you're throwing a donut out and having a bear come get it. It's work. It's work getting it in. It's work maintaining it. It's work getting rid of it. But it's worth it. It really is.
And I'll emphasize on the relationship with the landowner is a plus. They're always, they know what's up front. There's no gray area. They ask questions. They know what you're providing. They know what you're doing. They know where you are. And it's all permission. And that's the good stuff. Landowner doesn't want you there. Want you there, and that's fine. Every landowner is different, but it's a great tool. And I gotta admit, it is, of course, I'm a hunter. I enjoy it. I like watching the bears. And then I remember this one friend I took with me, and we were watching the bears, and he going, well, are you going to have bear this year? And I'm going, we're running out of time because the month had moved on. And yes, and I did harvest that bear, but I do like watching, and it is interesting.
We go to Brad first on the screen, then you, Beth. Brad, go ahead.
Thank you, Paul. Just a quick question for the presenters. I'd be interesting to hear how compatible or incompatible baiting bears is with bear hounding, and if that creates any kind of contention between the two types of hunting. Because if I'm reading the dates right, I think there would be an overlap of the two bear seasons. And I'm just curious if that generates any conflict in either Maine or New Hampshire that you two are aware of.
Well, I'll answer this. I've asked Charlie here. Charlie, have we ever had a cross with any of the houndsmen?
So, to the best of my recollection, my name's Charlie Palmer. I'm a director of the Vermont Bowhunters Association, one of the founding fathers. But in New Hampshire, our typical bait season starts in the zone that we're in, which is in Monroe. I think it's D1 or D2. It starts the 1st of September and goes to the 3rd of October. The dog people, I believe, can start in that zone on the 23rd of September. And I think, my memory is not as good as it used to be, but I think we've been over there somewhere around 30 years doing this. And I have never had a conflict with a hound hunter. They have the same issue in Maine. where they have baiting season, but they have a 2-week pre-baiting season in Maine. And they go through the month of September. And I'm not specific on the dates over there, but then the dog guys come in at some point while that baiting season is still in existence. And in some cases, in Maine, they're able to run dogs off of baits, which I don't know the law in New Hampshire. But to answer Brad's question, we have, in 30 years, we have never had a conflict with a houndsman.
Because it does seem like that a baiting area would be a pretty good place to strike a bear for houndsmen.
It could be. One thing about it, though, is what someone mentioned earlier, that maybe they'd place bait on the side of the road so their hounds could pick up a trail of a bear coming through. That's not going to be the case here. They're going to have to get to that bait pile to strike that bear. And that's not usually how they're doing it. You know, we're not talking about baiting within close proximity to roads. We're talking about finding good spots for bears where they feel comfortable. And usually hounds won't be there from the outset. They won't be looking for them. The other thing is, once a bear comes into a bait, they're coming in of their own free will. They're hungry. They know it. They're not getting chased. And nothing against hounds. I used to do it when I was in Virginia. But that's a lot of movement. They're moving through. That's a lot more land. It doesn't work real well, as I understand. They have 25 acres here, 50 acres here, no hunting here, some over there. That's tough for a houndsman. For a baiting situation, it's just not.
Okay. Beth, you had?
Well, I think there are two things that you haven't addressed.
Mhm.
And one of them is, if you put bait out, you're not only going to get bears, you're going to get lots of other animals coming into that bait. You know, so doesn't that draw in, if it's a landowner that's having a problem with whatever wildlife, isn't that just going to create more problems for that landowner, having more like raccoons or foxes?
Well, you want to get this one?
Yeah, what we discovered is any other animals come in, it's not that popular. Raccoons, yes, you're right about them. They're locals. We don't draw raccoons from areas. What I noticed is the raccoon, some of our baits, none. Some, yes. Depends on the location. And I can answer that. There's not a big problem. What I've never seen on the bait pile is a deer. I've never had a deer on the bait pile at all.
I mean, that would be the other thing, being able to pick those baits that makes more sense for bears than anything else. And also, when a bear is around, a lot of other things aren't. You know, they are pretty good carnivore. And if you're a coyote looking for a meal and there's something there, and it's either you, bait, or the bear, coyote's going to be gone.
That's true.
And the other question I had was about disease issues. So you said deer aren't going to come into the bait. I guess I was just assuming you were going to use meat, not corn or something.
Right, not corn.
So where is the meat coming? You know, it seems like it becomes a regulation problem.
I'm gonna not go. With bait, it's all different things. It is. People have used corn, they've used popcorn, they have used dog food, they have used meat. So it is true. One of my favorites is, I'm going to tell you, is corn and molasses. That's one of my favorites. And I'll go back to what I said. Bear doesn't come dependent on corn, because when we harvest that bear, we open up and see what else they're eating. And they're definitely eating other stuff. They don't depend on that at all. Not a bit. And deer do not come in that area. You know, if we're fortunate to get the bears, what we're trying to do, we're trying to harvest bears. That's our main focus, to harvest bears. We've not had a conflict of deer and bear. But raccoons, I have seen them, absolutely. But they're the locals. We don't get an army of them at
So,
all.
ma'am, could I address that issue?
Yeah, do it. Try to do it quickly because we gotta cut it around. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Predominantly, you don't use meat in the fall. You use meat in the spring. And all of Canada has spring bear seasons. I think there are 7 states in the lower 48 that have a spring season. But meat does not work well in the fall, which Justin had made mention of the fact that he would support a fall baiting season. In the fall, these bears are packing on the pound, so they're looking for calories. They're looking for sweets. They're looking for carbohydrates. They're looking for corn. They're looking for donuts. They're looking for anything that will put fat on when they go into hibernation. I mean, we've experimented with meat in the fall, and that doesn't work. So basically, you don't use that type of bait in the fall. You're predominantly looking for carbohydrates.
Okay, we'll take one more question and that'll be
So are
it.
you worried about the hound hunters at the same time? Are you gonna want to cut their dates?
No,
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 no, not at all.
I don't believe that will be a conflict based on past experience. Just very anecdotal, but based on past experience.
And some of it was Bill mentioned. Houndsmen like their areas, and anybody that has been a houndsman, they'll tell you they want their areas, they want their room. A lot of places where we are, there's posted land, not posted, is posted. They don't like being on those areas. And but yeah, we have never had that, and all the time. And we have range from from the north to the south, Charlie, a good 20 miles easy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we've never struck that problem.
Great, guys. Thank you.
Good thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very much. Thank you.